Childhood emotional abuse doesn't directly ruin your love life, it destroys your sense of belonging first. Most people think childhood emotional abuse creates anxious or avoidant attachment, constant clingers, or distant avoiders. But that's the surface-level story. The real damage runs deeper. Research shows the actual mechanism isn't about how you attach to someone. It's about whether you believe you deserve to be there at all. When a parent emotionally abuses a child, they're essentially saying, "You don't belong here." That message gets internalized. Years later, even with a loving partner, that voice whispers you're an intruder in their life. You can have secure attachment skills and still sabotage everything because you don't genuinely believe you belong in the relationship. Here's what most people get wrong about emotional abuse: it's not primarily about anxiety or fear. It's about belonging. When a parent consistently rejects a child, whether through criticism, coldness, or conditional love, they're sending a crystalline message: you don't fit here. And that message doesn't expire when you turn 18. A longitudinal study tracked adults who experienced parental emotional abuse into their romantic relationships. The researchers measured something specific: sense of belonging, the core belief that you deserve to be included, that your presence matters. What they found was striking. These adults, even when partnered with genuinely loving people, carried persistent doubt about whether they truly belonged in the relationship. Not because their partners gave them reason to doubt, but because their internal blueprint had been rewritten in childhood. One participant described it perfectly: her partner would say "I love you," and instead of accepting it, she'd think, "They don't know the real me yet. When they do, they'll leave." That's the belonging gap. It's not about the partner's actions. It's about the child's internalized message that fundamental inclusion isn't for people like them. The mechanism is simple but brutal. Repeated rejection teaches the nervous system that you're incompatible with closeness. That lesson runs deep. Here's where the research gets specific. Scientists at the University of Toronto followed two groups of adults with documented childhood emotional abuse histories. Both groups had similar trauma backgrounds. Same severity, same types of mistreatment. But they measured one variable differently: sense of belonging. The results were stark. Adults with low belonging scores reported 40% lower relationship satisfaction than those with high belonging scores, despite having identical trauma histories. Think about that. The abuse itself wasn't the differentiator. It was whether people believed they deserved to be included, to matter, to have a place in their partner's life. One person would be in the exact same loving relationship as another, but experience it as fundamentally lonelier, because deep down they didn't believe they belonged there. They'd interpret their partner's kindness with suspicion. They'd withdraw when things got intimate. They'd sabotage without realizing it. The data proves it: belonging is the actual mechanism. You can have the most patient, supportive partner in the world, but if you don't believe you belong with them, if that childhood message of rejection still runs your operating system, you'll manufacture distance. You'll find reasons to leave before they discover you're not worth staying for. The takeaway: your relationship satisfaction ceiling is set by your belonging beliefs, not your partner's behavior. Here's what separates people who heal from people who stay stuck: they stop treating belonging as something they need to earn and start treating it as something they actively build. The Sigma move isn't pretending your childhood didn't happen. It's the opposite: you acknowledge it happened, then you deliberately reconstruct your sense of place in the world. This looks like three concrete things. First, intentional community. Not just surface-level friendships, but environments where you show up consistently and prove to yourself that people actually want you there. Second, strategic vulnerability with your partner. The instinct is to hide your doubt about belonging because exposure feels dangerous. But when you tell your partner, "I struggle believing I deserve to be here with you," something shifts. They get to actively choose you, repeatedly, which rewrites the old message from your parent. Third, you actively reject the false narrative. Every time your brain whispers that you don't fit, you name it as a lie from your past, not truth about your present. This isn't positive thinking. It's evidence building. You're collecting proof through action that you belong. And that proof changes everything about how your relationship feels. So here's what we've covered. Childhood emotional abuse doesn't break your attachment style directly. it shatters your sense of belonging. That broken belonging is what tanks your relationships. The Sigma move isn't endless therapy worksheets about your anxious tendencies. It's proving to yourself daily that you deserve to be here, that you belong with your partner. When you actually believe it, they'll feel it shift immediately.